What's up, everybody? Welcome to Squeeze the Juice, episode 2. The boys are back in town.
Woo!
After our first week of picks, it was up and down. It was everywhere. There were some heartbreaks.
There were some heartbreaks.
There were some major picks we thought were obvious, right?
You thought so. I mean, obviously, when you make your pick, you're thinking, yeah, it's a winner for sure. And then you get to Saturday and Sunday, and the story changes quickly.
A team you thought was like easy money. You know, they're definitely going to at least win this game, even if it's the score or something else.
Ugh.
And they disappoint you.
It was not a disappointing weekend, but we were both pretty much even for the most part. I was 7-6. I gave you the kind of curveball throw in. You were 6-6, so we were both basically 500 on the weekend. We can start rattling these off.
Hop right into it. We're gonna recap week 1 picks. Evan, take it away.
All right, so you were 2-4 in college ball. I was 3-3.
Sad.
I picked Oklahoma State plus 4.5. That was a winner. They probably should have won that game. I don't know if you were watching, but
I saw Oklahoma State honestly killing TCU, and TCU's like, well, the long game is our game.
It was a fourth quarter collapse, and Spencer Sanders just that offense was horrible in the fourth quarter. But I did give you that, and then the game went overtime, helped out that over 68.5 pick. So I gave you 2 winners in that game. You picked TCU minus 4.5, and that did not come through for you.
Unfortunate.
We both were on Clemson minus 4.5. They were up big in the fourth quarter. They kind of let
Florida State come back.
Yeah, they let them come back.
That could have been an upset game. That would have been the upset game for them.
Right. I wasn't really worried that Clemson wasn't going to cover, but when Florida State scored that touchdown, I was like, all right, let's close it out.
It's getting closer. Come on.
And then Michigan State, Wisconsin. I took Sparty plus 7. You took Wisco minus 7, and Michigan State. I mean, give credit to that defense. They got a couple players back. I know they weren't fully healthy, but Jacob Slade and Xavier Henderson made a difference on the defensive end, and that team looked better, like a lot better.
I agree. They looked better, but that was an unfortunate Wisconsin end of the Hail Mary to end it.
Tough. But you did win Michigan minus 7.
Yeah.
You got that one right. That one was, I got that one wrong. I picked Penn State plus 7. Not a great game for the Nittany Lions, but
you were in it, though.
I was in it.
It was a scary time at halftime.
Well, Michigan dominated that game. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah,
they dominated that game. At one point, 18 first downs to Penn State having, I think, 0, maybe 1. It didn't feel like Penn State could move the ball. They had a couple big plays, but that was it. And give credit to Michigan. They dominated. I got to say. I don't know how good Penn State is still. I think that's going to be determined by the rest of Big Ten play, but that's still a top 10 win. I know it's at home, but that's a top 10 win, and that's that was a really impressive win.
Over 400 yards against the 5th best rush defense.
It was impressive. It was very impressive, and Michigan looks like a title contender. Let's call it what it is.
Yeah, legit. I mean, I'm still very concerned after we talked about that Buckeyes team.
Yeah.
That's still a major concern, but they keep impressing me more each week, which is good.
Right, and I mean, I think with rivalry week coming up next Saturday, I think we're going to really see what both schools, especially Michigan, is made of, because this has been a rivalry that's been kind of one-sided lately. So we're going to get into that next week.
Yeah,
that's going to be exciting.
That'll be another topic.
All right, so we were both wrong on Utah minus 2.5. Utah did win the game. We said they would win the game, and I mean, that was such a fun game.
I know.
Cam Rising versus Caleb Williams, so electric. The offenses were amazing. But Utah just couldn't cover that 2.5 spread,
and they won.
It was tough.
It was right there.
I thought that was going to be I don't want to say easy,
cover?
but it felt like a guaranteed cover. And I mean, it was a very close game. I thought it'd be close, but too close for our liking. We didn't win that bet. And then Bama minus 9. We said either take Bama spread or Tennessee money line. And what do you know? Tennessee money line was the right pick. And we were both on Bama minus 9. So that was tough.
And you said that. You're like, I take the money line if you're taking Tennessee.
Yeah, if you're betting Tennessee, ignore the plus 9, go with the money line, because that is where you're going to get a ton of value. That's what I said. And I mean, I don't know
you
if
said it.
I mean, look, you don't have to listen to me, but that was what I said. So 3-3 for me in college, 2-4 for you. But let's go to the pros now. Let's go to the NFL. Bills -2.5. Both got that one right. That was a late game thriller. Little low scoring for those two offenses, I think. 24-20. I mean, the way the offenses in general in the NFL have played, that's kind of a high-scoring game, but
it was more shocking on the Bills' part because of what they have. I know Mahomes and the crew have lost, a weapon in Tyreek Hill that really helps with that boost. And the run game's not what it was in the past.
No.
But yeah, so that wasn't as shocking, but yeah, definitely pretty low scoring for those teams.
You would think. I mean,
after
still,
the shootouts they've been in.
I mean, the playoffs was crazy, but then again, that game going into the last 5 minutes or so was pretty tight too. And then the offenses just were like, all right, screw it, we're scoring points, we don't care. So Bills -2.5, we gave you that winner. Giants +6, we gave you that winner as well. We were on that. I didn't think the Giants would win, but those Giants,
poor Lamar,
the G-men, he was terrible.
He was fumbling.
Terrible.
He was looking good at the beginning of the season, and he's just fumbling that bag right now.
I got some stats because we're going to get into it. I got some stats about Lamar late game, and you are going to be shocked by some of these numbers. And then Pats +2.5. That was my lock of the week. I guaranteed it. I tripled my units on that game, and that really helped me have a nice winning week in terms of profit wise. Because I'll tell you what, I was looking at these other games. I was like, if I didn't bet Pats, triple my units on that. Whew, I don't know. I don't know. I think I would have been down a few bucks, but instead they propelled me above what I started with, and I should have bet money line honestly because it could have gotten a little bit more value, but that was just such an easy bet. I mean, we knew what Belichick was going to do to that Browns defense.
The Browns are fumbling, though. What they consider, the slightly star-studded defense is just they're paying for names that aren't working.
Yeah, I mean,
whatever's
that defense,
there.
Pats put up 38 points. Bailey Zappi threw for over 300 yards. Ramondre Stevenson had 2 touchdowns. They were dominant. The Pats dominated that game, and I'm rocking Pat the Patriot today.
Ride or die.
Woo!
Patriot Riders.
Love that. Love that. Bucks -10. We were
ugly.
Steelers won the game.
The heartbreak.
The Bucks offense looked terrible. They couldn't get in the end zone.
Tom Brady yelling at his crew.
There was a lot going on with that too. He missed practice Wednesday. He was at Robert Kraft's wedding on Friday.
That's so
yelling at his offensive line on Sunday. It's not a great look for Tom.
And then beefing with his wife back again on Monday.
Jeez, times are tough in Tommy land, but still, a loss to the Steelers.
Tampa
and
Bay
Trubisky came in at the end, and
hurricane weather, you could say, in Tampa Bay.
Just it's really uncharacteristic of what we've seen from Tom Brady and the Bucs offense in the past couple years, right? I mean, they've looked dominant, and I know their offensive line is not what it was their Super Bowl year and even last year, but it just feels like they're struggling to move the ball. They can't really get into an offensive flow, and most of the weapons are the same.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Is Gronk really that much of a factor to him?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, he just maybe that comfort level feeling like I always have Gronk there. I don't know.
He can't trust nobody. He's in a place where he feels like he can't trust nobody. Not even himself.
Home life might have something to do with that, but Eagles -6.5. That was a winner for you. I was a Brett Maher 59-yard field goal away from covering that
Fly,
spread.
Eagles, fly.
If he hit that, I was like, oh, it's 59 yards. There's no way he hits this right. And I was right. Yep. So I didn't get that little backdoor cover.
That ended up being closer than we thought at first. Like we kind of talked it was going to be close.
I thought it was going to be close.
And then Eagles were just like, all right, we're going to roll. And then Cowboys came flowing back quick, and they just didn't have enough time.
It was 20-17. You're thinking Cowboys have a shot in this game. Jalen Hurts in an offense. They close the door. They go up 27 or something?
Yeah, I think
17. I don't know, something like that. But 26-17, something like that. So they shut it down. And credit to Nick Sirianni. He's got that team rolling right now.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting him to be as good as he is right now. Obviously,
no.
Shout out to the team he has with him, 100%.
Right.
But I mean, it's like in comparing them to like when Joe Judge was running the Giants.
Right. I mean, it's crazy what he's done, and I'm really impressed by the Eagles. They showed me something. That's a divisional game. I know Cooper Rush looked terrible, and I know the Eagles team overall is just they've been playing great on both sides, but they're really showing me something now after that win because the Cowboys, I believe, had won 4 straight against, or no, the Cowboys swept the division last year.
Yeah.
So they were 6-0 against the division last year. First real divisional game because let's face it, the Commanders are just not it. This was kind of the real game. 2 of the top dogs in the NFC going head to head. I don't care if Dak Prescott's not there. That was a dominant win.
That NFC East is wild. Aside from the Commanders, no, sorry, disrespect to them, but
No, yeah.
I mean the until the Cowboys played the Eagles, their only loss was I don't forget who they lost to. Oh no, I'm thinking Giants. Giants only loss so far is to the Cowboys.
Yeah,
which is crazy. You could have.
I know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The Giants only lost to the Cowboys,
You're right.
and it's by a couple points, which is crazy. That the Giants could be undefeated. Like them and the Eagles could be undefeated right now.
Yeah, it's wild. And then the last game that we lost was Saints plus 2.5. Bengals with that little sneaky cover, that Jamar Chase 60-yarder to
The
put us
disappointment
in
in that
misery.
game.
It
It was all Saints.
Saints were crushing them. They were winning all game, and then just a horrible missed tackle. Jamar Chase gritties into the end zone. Basically, I'm sitting there with my hands up. I was in disbelief, and then the Saints offense just can't get it done on the other end. They had like a minute and change to make something happen. They couldn't get it done. That was a tough game because I was like, this is a really nervous. This game has me really nervous. I don't know which side to lean on. I went with the home team, and look, they didn't come through.
The Saints have been playing great ball, but not being able to finish and win games.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it last night against the Cardinals.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was so sad.
They were winning that game early, then the 2 pick sixes, and then it was over. You knew a 14-point deficit at half, 2 pick sixes in a row, and Arizona gets the ball to start the half. This game's over. And Arizona was able to run the ball really well. Benjamin looked good.
Yeah, Benjamin's looking really well.
DeAndre Hopkins
Really
back
good.
really just settled Kyler down. He looked like a completely different quarterback yesterday with Hopkins in there. And who knows, the Cardinals might be onto something now. I thought the Saints could have been like a sneaky playoff team. I said that last week. And since we last taped, the Saints have lost 2 games. So they're no longer in that consideration. But
Get
the
'em outta
Cardinals
here.
now have kind of taken that step. They're 3-4 now.
We'll see what can happen.
We'll see what can happen.
Hopkins looked good, but he's getting in the flow. You could tell
Right.
he was very off at certain points.
Right, and
but
even with him not, playing a game in a while, even with him not maybe being totally in the flow of things, he still had a great game. I think he had close to or over 100 receiving yards. So he's clearly the safety net for Kyler, but also the guy that just changes the dynamic. And he's an adult in the room too. He's 30 years old now. He's been in the league for 8 years. He's just an adult that, and you saw when Kyler was yelling at Cliff, who was right there to kind of calm Kyler down? It was Hopkins. So Hopkins is clearly that adult that the team needed, and that offense really needed because there was just no flow. There was no real positive game script that the Cardinals were finding themselves in. But Hopkins brought that.
because not having Hopkins right away, you lose Kirk in the offseason, and you bring in Hollywood from the Ravens, and he goes down.
Right.
It's who do you have? Ertz if he's open.
Yeah, I mean, but a tight end can only do so much.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
need someone on the outside, and Hopkins is that guy. So that was our recap.
Yeah, that was quite a recap.
You were 4-2 in pros. I was 3-3 in pros. You were 2-4 in college. I was 4-3 in college because I gave you that bonus pick in the Oklahoma State TCU game. So I'm
Respect.
7-6. You're 6-6. We're right there though. We're not
we're
competing
progressing.
against each other, but
no, we're progressing. It's like
Right.
that friendly, I got that one on you.
yeah,
Like
exactly,
that kind of vibe.
exactly.
Well, we got a lovely week 2 for us, even though in the football world, college football, it's week 8, and NFL, it is week 7,
Right.
technically. So we're hopping into week 8. We got some, not as exciting as last week, but still some good ranked games this week.
The slate is interesting. I'll say that. It's not. I'm not as comfortable with my picks this week as I was last week when it came to college. But maybe that's a good thing because I was only 3-3. I got a little too comfortable last week. I think I'm going to be feeling myself after this weekend when it comes to these picks. I'm liking them, but I'm not comfortable, which makes me a little more dangerous.
Shaking it up, as you could say.
Exactly.
And there's a big game that it's a really ranked versus unranked that Evan was extremely hyped about last week when we finished. And we'll get into it in a little bit, but it's quite a tight game, more than you probably would have expected once you hear how it goes down. So we rolling in?
Let's do it.
Rolling in. Kicking off, according to schedule, we're kicking off with Syracuse, number 14, the Big Orange Men, at 5 Clemson in Death Valley. It is up to
14.5 now. Clemson minus 14.5.
Clemson minus 14.5 as of right now. And, I mean, after, they won what you would consider Clemson, the major, upset game that could come to them last week down in Tallahassee. And they're coming back home, which you love because you love that. Clemson and Death Valley. And
love
Syracuse is feeling hot right now, but how good are they actually? Are they just riding an easy wave right now?
That's where I'm at right now with Syracuse. Going into this game, like you just said, they're going into Death Valley. Clemson doesn't lose at Death Valley, so you don't have to worry about Clemson not winning this game because they are going to win this game, and they're going to win this game by a lot. Syracuse is kind of fraudulent. I love Sean Tucker. Mm-hmm. He's a great running back. He's going to be like a day 2 pick. And he's so elusive. I love Sean Tucker. But Clemson's ranked 4th in rush defense. And they're getting their guys back on the defensive line. They were really effective against Florida State. Florida State really couldn't do anything on the ground. It was just kind of Jordan Travis at the end making stuff happen with his arm. Clemson got a little lax. Even Dabo after the game was talking to the reporter. He was like, I didn't like the way we finished. So I think Dabo's going to have his guys kind of a little bit more ready to finish a game and to kind of shut out an opponent, like make sure that the door is shut. I don't think Syracuse has any shot in this game. And Garrett Schrader, their quarterback, he's not a good passer. He can run a little bit. He's not a good passer. His numbers not impressive. Syracuse's weak schedule has really aided them to this undefeated record. I know they had a nice win against NC State last week, but I'm not buying in. I'm not buying into this Syracuse team. It was 13.5 earlier in the week. The spread, it's up to 14.5. I don't care what the spread is. I'm taking Clemson either way. Clemson minus 14.5. That's a confident pick, too.
It's crazy that it went up. I was not expecting it to go up because I feel like the people in reality have a little more faith in Syracuse. I don't prior to past years. I love Syracuse, but when it comes to basketball, that's a whole different topic.
Right.
But, I mean, how can you argue Clemson, Death Valley, Debo's got the boys playing good now.
Yeah.
He's got them playing because, honestly, when they started that high at the beginning of the season, I was like, why are they that high?
Yeah.
After last year. I didn't think they deserved to be that high, but they're playing well. DJ's got the game going. He knows how to have a better flow. He's throwing the ball well. Everything should be going well for Clemson. And those front four on the defensive line, or however you want to reference it, it's nuts. And they're locking up all running backs across the board. So, I mean, I agree with you. Clemson's going to take it, and I'm taking the full thing, the minus 14.5, right?
Yep. I'm taking that with confidence. That's my favorite college pick of the week right there.
Pick of the week brought to you by Evan.
I'm not locking it in. I'm super locking that in.
Oh, super lock.
That's a super lock.
He throws down the cash
Clemson
bag.
minus 14.5. I love that pick. That's easily my college pick of the week.
Love that. All right. Onward to game 2. And we got the big one. The sleeper one. 7 Ole Miss heads down by the Bayou to see the Bengals. It is at LSU. LSU is still at minus 1.5 currently.
Yep.
It could be a wild one down in New Orleans.
I mean, it's the Magnolia Bowl. You look at that spread, and that's an interesting spread. Kind of weird, right?
For LSU
minus 1.5. LSU's been really shaky. They've been up, they've been down. They're interesting.
They're not playing bad ball.
No.
They're just not.
It's just not consistent.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not consistent. So some weeks they're really good. Some weeks they're really bad. They're impossible to trust, which makes this spread so hard to understand. They have a first-round wide receiver, probably a top 10 pick, top 15 in Kayshon Boutte. He's a beast. Jaden Daniels, their transfer quarterback from Arizona State.
He's playing
He's
out.
solid, but you got to look at Ole Miss and what they're capable of doing. Ole Miss
Jackson Dart in that run, those runners. He's got 3 deep in the backfield.
Their running game is nuts, but Jackson Dart has not been that impressive. Ole Miss, 3rd in rushing offense, but they're 78th in passing offense. So they're not really, they're getting it done on the ground, but their passing game it's not very impressive. LSU, they're 69th against the run, but they're ranked 29th in total defense. So their defense has been playing better than you'd kind of expect when their rushing defense isn't that great according to the stats here. But I think this is just Death Valley. The spread is weird. You just kind of close your eyes and take Louisiana State University here. You take the Tigers.
You're taking them
Shout out to Ed
-1.5.
Ogeron. I'm taking LSU -1.5. I don't love this game because Ole Miss is undefeated. They haven't had a crazy hard schedule, but they're winning games. It's kind of like Syracuse, except this is an SEC team. This is a real school. Let's call it what it is. This is a real school.
Mm-hmm.
Ole Miss is a real program. But you look at LSU -1.5. I just have to take the Tigers, and it's scary, but that's the way I'm going.
Is this? Let me see. I want to see. Is this a night game?
It's a 3:30 start.
3:30 start. Okay, that's better for Ole Miss. Night game. That's dangerous.
I think that spread is like -4.5.
Yeah, if it's a night game. Believe it or not, even though Dart has been up and down, he's got the arm. He's just got to make better decisions in the pocket because I know he can run. I know he can do a lot of things. He's got the people around him. He's got his backfield. I trust him enough, and I'm taking Ole Miss +1.5.
Okay. That's an interesting pick.
I know. I'm feeling a little bold.
I feel like you could be totally spot on, and I'm just buying into this LSU as a favorite and, against the 7th ranked team in the country. I don't know. I'm so in between on this game.
It's probably the biggest toss up of the week, even though it's not ranked versus ranked. When you see LSU there and they're playing okay ball, it feels like a ranked game.
Yeah, this is a coin flip. You really don't know what to expect of this game. I'm closing my eyes and picking LSU.
I am taking Ole Miss. There's only 2 teams in the SEC that I ride for: the Volunteers and the Rebels. Hotty toddy, love it. Give me Dart +1.5. Book it.
Whoa.
All right, game 3. We're rolling.
Let's do it.
Your boy, Sanders. Pulling it back, bringing it back home to Oklahoma State. We got a number 20 Longhorns of Texas.
Yes.
At 11, Oklahoma State. And the Cowboys, it's still Texas -6, I believe.
I got 6.5.
Okay, so that's up.
Yeah.
Now it's up to 6.5. So I still got my things from a couple days ago, my stats.
Yeah, I got 6.5 now.
So Texas -6.5.
So I love Texas's offense. I mean, Quinn Ewers, Bijan Robinson, Xavier Worthy, they are insane. Those are all potential first-round picks right there.
Quinn Ewers is unreal. Changes Texas.
Completely.
Since he's the best quarterback since Vince Young, I think, at Texas.
You might be right there, honestly. I mean, he's a stud. He is an easy Heisman candidate next season. And I love their offense. But Texas played Iowa State really close last week. It was a 3-point game, and that was Texas at home. That should have been a much, much bigger victory for them. I know Oklahoma State is coming off that emotional loss to TCU. We covered it in our recap. They were winning basically the whole game. It was kind of like the Saints. Just
Horned Frogs.
just a total collapse in the fourth quarter, and then overtime, I knew they had no chance. As soon as that game went to OT, I was like, okay. But Texas is a very, very good opponent. This is going to be a tough game. I don't love the number, though.
You don't like the 6.5?
I don't. I think Texas wins this game, but since 2012, this game has been a one-score game in 7 of the 10 games.
Facts.
Oklahoma State has won 6 of those 10 matchups, too. I don't trust Oklahoma State to win this game, but I like them to cover that 6.5. I just think this is one of those games where, you look at the history, you look at, okay, it's homecoming for Oklahoma State. There's just a lot playing into this game that makes me shy away from Texas and go for the Cowboys here.
So you got the Cowboys, what, plus six
Plus
and a half?
Oklahoma State plus 6.5. That's my pick.
Pistol Pete, baby. Bang, 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 bang. Gonna shoot me down a Longhorn. I'm with you. I'm riding with you. Oklahoma State plus 6.5 now.
There we go.
I agree. Ewers in Texas, I think they're gonna start continuously playing well, and they're probably gonna drop some games. I think this is one of them. It might be closer than we think, depending on how it goes. But yeah, Oklahoma State and them Cowboys are gonna get their groove back.
So you think they're going to win?
Well,
the way you're talking them up right now.
I know. Like, I think they're gonna win, but I got Oklahoma State plus 6.5.
Okay. No, you think Texas is going to win?
Is that if I pick Oklahoma State plus 6.5, I think Texas.
No. I'm saying, like, you think Texas still wins despite Oklahoma State keeping it close.
I think Oklahoma State still wins.
Okay, so you're okay. You're riding with the Cowboys.
I'm riding with the Cowboys this
All
whole
right.
way.
I think Texas is going to win, but I think it's Oklahoma State keeping it close. I think it's like a field goal game.
Okay, you're taking the Oklahoma State.
Yeah, Oklahoma State will cover this. I think we'll see. I'll probably be wrong.
I'm riding with both. I trust them. Ewers is the X factor. If he's not there, it's not happening. If he's there, it's close or a victory for Texas.
I'm with you.
I don't know. That's another good one too. We'll see how well Texas. Texas isn't back, but they're playing like they're trying to return for real.
Well, I think Texas could win out. I do.
Really?
And I don't think that gets them into the playoff with 2 losses. But if Quinn was healthy in that second half against Bama, and if he was healthy against Texas Tech, I think this is a Texas Tech team that might be our Texas team that might be 1 loss and maybe even no losses, because he could have easily carried that offense to a win against Bama. We don't really know what Bama is right now.
That's true.
They've looked really shaky.
The defense has been scrambling.
We're on to Bama because that's our next game.
I know. All right. Roll Tide versus the Bulldogs is the next one. We got 24 Mississippi State heading down to Tuscaloosa at 6 Alabama after their tough loss in Knoxville. Bama is minus 21.
Still, yep.
Still minus 21. I mean, what to expect out of this game? They're going to come out firing? Is the defense still not going to be shaky? How's Bryce Young feeling after last week? I mean, you normally trust Nick Saban to get his guys back together after a loss. I mean, they don't normally only lose a game a season if that happens. Rarely.
You're asking a lot of good questions, and you're spot on with your analysis here. Look, both teams are coming off of a loss, but Bama's especially was brutal. I mean, 17 penalties. They just looked out of sorts, and their pass defense was horrendous. But Mississippi State is 0-2 on the road in the SEC. They lost to LSU by 15, and they lost to Kentucky by 10. So those are 2 double-digit losses against inferior opponents as opposed to Alabama. And their last 4 matchups versus Bama. Let me get you these numbers here.
Give me them. Hit me with them.
We'll start with 2018. Bama 24, Mississippi State 0. 2019, Bama 38, Mississippi State 7. 2020, Bama 41, Mississippi State 0. And last year, Bama 49, Mississippi State 9. So these are blowout games. I do not trust Mississippi State to cover this 21-point spread. I know Bama looked rough last week, and I know Bama in general this season has looked shaky. But Saban, I mean, you saw his hair. You saw how fired up he was. He's going to have that defense revved up and ready to roll, and he's going to have Bryce Young in that offense ready to score some points. And they're not going to step off the gas either. They're going to
show people what
they're going to show people what they're about. They're not going to back down from this game. They're not going to take it lightly. I would hate to be a Mississippi State fan because it's going to be an ugly, ugly loss. I'm taking Bama minus 21 here, and I think this is my second favorite college pick of the week. I'm not scared at all of this number. I know it's 3 touchdowns, and Alabama looked terrible last week. I'm not scared. I love this pick.
It's a great pick. It's a great pick. It's a great pick. I mean, Mississippi State has their years, and when I mean has their years, it's where they look good enough and they have their chance to possibly beat Bama. This, even though they're ranked, this is not one of those years.
No, I don't care if they were ranked 5. It's Bama all the way here. Mississippi State just doesn't play them well.
You know what's insane is their quarterback is putting up absolute numbers.
Read them to me.
This man has been 228 for 320 for pass to whatever.
That's pretty good.
He has almost 2,500 passing yards and 23 touchdowns. Well, but the crazy thing is C.J. Stroud of Ohio State has one more touchdown than he does, but he has almost arguably 800 more yards than him passing. But okay, that's a bad comparison in the sense because C.J. Stroud, that just shows you how insane he's playing, but C.J. Stroud is doing just better than him in like 200 less attempts.
Right. I mean, like, and the way he's playing, I forget his name off the top of my head. Do you have it with you or no?
I got Rodgers.
Okay, so I mean, Rodgers has played well, right? We can't ignore that, but I don't really care. Almost like I just don't care. I like you could read me any stat. I don't care.
That number was impressive to me, but I'm like, and then people have rumors where they're like, oh yeah, this guy, he's at Mississippi State. He has NFL talent. Like maybe he does have NFL talent, but he doesn't have talent to beat Alabama this week. I can tell you that.
And Mike Leach is a great football coach. I just don't think that this Mississippi State team stands a chance. It's Bama or pass, really. I don't think you can take Mississippi State to cover the spread and be like, I'm feeling good about that one.
No, I don't think they do. I agree with you. Minus 21, I'm taking Bama.
Let's go.
All day.
This is, I think, the next two games we have on the slate. I absolutely love these games, so I'm excited to talk about them.
I know. These are some tight games coming up here. So now we move on past Bama, roll the tide. It's going to be a monsoon.
These are exciting games we got coming up.
So we head down to, I believe, Fort Worth. I may be wrong, but we got TCU number 8 hosting 17 Kansas State. Adrian Martinez and those Wildcats from Little Manhattan over there in Kansas come to Texas. It's TCU minus 3.5.
Yep.
And I mean, the Horned Frogs have been playing great. They got, I was happy they won. A lucky win, kind of.
I think they made their luck.
That's a fair statement. They made their luck because they were down. Whole game last week.
Their defense stepped up in the fourth quarter. They came back and look, Max Duggan, their QB, he didn't play great, but he got the win, brought him back. I mean, that's all you can say about that team, and it was an emotional come from behind win. Let's face it, and you're thinking, okay, maybe this is a little bit of a setback for them, a little bit of a regression this week, but I'm not buying into it. TCU minus 3.5. This is a really interesting game. It's an 8:00 kickoff. It's a night game. I have watched Adrian Martinez play night games at Nebraska. Look, he hasn't thrown a pick this year. I don't know how, because I saw him throw like 10 picks in a game, I swear, in the Big Ten, like weekly. But
something about that Big 12, man.
I'm not going to ignore the past Martinez. I know he's played good this year, and Kansas State has kind of been a giant slayer in the past. I think it could be close, but I think you're looking at 3.5. I think TCU wins by 4. That's how I see it. I don't think it's going to be a big blowout game. I think this is a tight one. I think it's one possession, but I like it 4 or more here for TCU. Give me the Horned Frogs. I didn't pick them last week. I'm picking them this week. I'm riding with the purple the right way, the TCU way, not that Kansas State purple. So give me the Horned Frogs minus 3.5. I'm excited for this one. It's going to be fun to watch, and that 8:00 kickoff is magical. I love 8:00 kickoffs in college football.
Well, one and the same. Ride Horned Frogs till I die.
Wow.
Minus 3.5. They're going to get it done. They're putting up numbers. Kansas State probably can hang with them for a bit, but there's going to be a point where they just break loose because they are the better team. Adrian Martinez, maybe he throws a pick, maybe he doesn't. But I don't think Kansas State is going to be able to hold up entirely against TCU.
Right, and Kansas State's running attack is really good. But I'm just going to put my faith in the better QB here. Max Duggan, he's really good. They're TCU's top 25 in rush and pass. I'm just putting my faith in the better football team, the home team with that night environment. I'm taking the Horned Frogs. I love that we're both on the same page there because Kansas State has been giant slayers in the past.
It's true. We've seen it for Oklahoma. We've seen it for Oklahoma State. We've seen it for Baylor. We've They're one of before Iowa State started like being more legit. Those two were the giant slayers,
Right.
of the Big 12.
Kansas State is an absolute dark horse team every year. Doesn't matter what their record is. They come into your house and you're like, oh crap.
Hit the lights.
It's scary sometimes with them.
We're both riding the Horned Frogs.
Let's go.
And closing out our college football picks of the week, we got the game of the week.
Yes,
College game day. Heads to Eugene.
Love that.
Hit Oregon, however you want.
So I'm riding with Oregon this week. They're -6.5.
9 UCLA, though.
I don't
at 10
care.
Oregon.
Look,
I
think the wheels fall off the Chip Kelly and DTR wagon.
Chip
here.
Kelly returns with a top 10 team to where it all began for him.
It's wild, but I'm just gonna say this: Bo Nix has been really good since that opener against Georgia. Oregon runs the ball as a team really well. They don't have a standout back like Ole Miss with Zach Evans and their other back. What's his name? Quinshon Judkins, he's a beast too, but they just run the ball really effectively as a team. They're 10th in rush offense, and Oregon has a great offensive line. They're really experienced. They're really deep there. On the other side, Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Incredible.
He is playing out of his mind. He's really playing like a Heisman candidate. And Zach Charbonnet, Michigan transfer, he's one of the best backs in the Pac-12, maybe one of the best backs in the country. He's been terrific for them again this year. So I'm just looking at this game, and I'm like, Oregon -6.5, that's a lot of points. That's a touchdown favorite, basically. But it's in Autzen. It's a really tough place to play. And I think while UCLA looks good and they've played good football, I think Oregon, since that Georgia game, has figured it out. And I'm going to ride at the Ducks. I'm taking Oregon -6.5, and that is going to be such an awesome game to watch. I cannot wait. I'm so excited.
It's electric in here. It's electric in the air.
I'm so excited for that game.
Quack attack.
I'm ready.
I like that pick. My biggest concern in this game is how well will the UCLA defense hold up? Because UCLA and Oregon offenses can be hitting on all cylinders. You know how the Pac-12 plays. I believe in a young Sewell and carrying that defense, leading that defense of the Ducks. And it's going to be a tight one. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch. I am, however, believing in my boys and taking UCLA.
Okay. It's a good pick. I think both picks are good. I don't think there's a wrong way to play this game.
I got them to +6.
Look,
and I trust in them.
I think it could be really tight. I'm taking Oregon just because of that home factor and just because I like the way they're playing.
Simply the difference maker in this game.
But I could see it going either way. This is kind of a coin flip game for me too. I know it's 6.5. That's kind of a big number when it comes to like a top. This is a top 10 team in UCLA. They're getting 6.5. That's kind of like an obvious pick. You think I'm gonna fade that though. I'm going with the home favorite here, Oregon. Let's ride.
Like we talked about the LSU Ole Miss game, I think I would take Oregon if it was a night game. I think that factor would have changed a lot in my mind.
That's a fair assessment.
In college football, a night game is just it's everything at times, depending on the scenario. But normally that's what it would take. But yeah, go Bruins! I'm riding them. Chip Kelly, welcome back. I was never a fan of you, but I love the Bruins.
And I have one more point to make, though.
Okay, go ahead. Close it out with its college football statement.
And this is why I'm taking Oregon.
Okay.
This is UCLA's first
Talk to me.
intense. This is their first intense game on the road. They went to Colorado earlier in the year. Colorado stinks. Oregon is legit. I think that road environment plays a huge factor. I do. I think you might be underrating it a little bit. I still think UCLA is a good pick. I think you're underrating how loud Autzen can be. I know it's not a night game. It's a 3:30 kick, which I believe is technically 12:30 out in Oregon land. But
ready to roll.
Oh boy, whatever. Let's go Ducks.
Bruins, baby, legendary. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we locked in those college picks.
Right.
We'll see what's popping in college football. There's way more tighter games this week, I think, than we may expect.
I like this slate a lot. I don't like it as much as last weekend because last weekend was just so good. And it's hard to repeat that. But I do think this is a fun week. You got some really cool games, especially that Kansas State TCU game. That is going to be a must watch. That game is going to be electric.
Oh, I completely agree. I'm hyped. I think obviously game day is going to be the best one, but
yeah, I mean that's awesome too.
I think LSU Ole Miss is going to be my favorite one of the week.
Okay. Well, on to the NFL, my friend.
Onward. So, this week our boys are back in town.
The Lions are back.
Unfortunately.
Let me just say this. It was so nice not having to watch Lions football on Sunday.
I agree. I was like, all these teams are winning, and
I was just watching the Patriots, because that's my team, that's our team, and I was like, you know what? Everything just feels right. It's just it's just so beautiful to watch the Patriots win by 23 points and not have to worry about the Lions bring me to tears nearly. It's just one of those things where I'm feeling so good about myself, realizing that the Lions aren't going to make me lose my mind. And I just had to say that. But they're back, so let's bring back the misery.
Are back in town.
Yeah. Time to bring on the misery.
We got our Detroit Lions headed to Dallas, facing the Cowboys. Dak Prescott returns. The line right now, what, -7 Cowboys?
It was -7, but now it's -6.5 Cowboys. So the Lions got a half point.
Trust in the boys.
I'm guessing that came with the injury report that was released today. Amon-Ra St. Brown is off the injury report. Swift probable to play. He's questionable, but I think he's going to play. DJ Chark is out, but I think just getting Swift back, huge addition for the Lions. The Cowboys, we've seen them play. We know what Micah Parsons can do. We know what DeMarcus Lawrence can do. They're great against the pass because they can get to the quarterback. They lead the NFL in sacks. They're a little susceptible to the run, though. They're middle of the pack against the run. I like the Lions in this game. I do. The Lions don't give up many sacks, if at all. They are tied for the lowest in the NFL, so I think that plays well against the Cowboys' pass rush. I like the fact that Swift is coming back, or hopeful to come back. If he doesn't play, that kind of makes me choose the Cowboys, just because Swift is so dynamic. He's one of the best backs in the NFL by far, and that offense completely changes with him in it because of his ability to catch the ball and to run the ball.
100%. And that allows Jamal Williams to be a little more free because he's not meant to carry the load.
It's a nice, Jamal is more of a power back, Swift is more of a speed back. It's a nice combination, a really good duo, but when you don't have one of those guys, well, you're missing that guy that can kind of burn you deep with his legs as opposed to the guy that's going to give you a couple body blows with Williams there. So I would wait to see who is active for Sunday. I would wait to make sure that Swift is playing, but I think this is a bounce-back game for the Lions. It was an ugly loss against the Patriots. They're coming off the bye. The Lions played nice against the Steelers last year coming off the bye. I know it was a tie, but they played them tough. I take the Lions here plus 6.5. I think this game is close. I don't know if the Lions win. I just don't trust Dan Campbell to get a win right now, but I'm going to take the Lions to cover.
People beef a lot about Dan Campbell, but as Detroit fans, it's you have a coach that believes in the team, believes in the city, actually cares and wants to be here. And I think that's a big factor. The Lions needed that. I think the city needed that. We're struggling right now this season.
We're struggling.
And I don't think we expected that. A lot of people are talking about, Hard Knocks really hyped them up, all this and that. But it's the game is there. The offense is there. Can the defense do something? Can the defense do something? No disrespect to Aaron Glenn. I know sometimes it's the chips you're dealt, but what is he? I think he can do better. I know he's assistant or co-head coach or whatever he is, but he's not helping his case right now. Unfortunately,
no, he's not. And I know there's potential that the Lions get Jerry Jacobs back. They get Josh Pascal back.
I heard
John
that this morning
Kaminsky
too.
maybe. So I don't want to get too geeky here, but there's some of those guys that might be returning. And let's not ignore the fact that Dak hasn't played football since week 1. And I don't know how rusty his thumb is going to be, how well he's going to be throwing the football. It might be a run-heavy game script. Maybe. I don't know if it gets re-injured, re-aggravated. Who knows? It sounds like he's fully healthy and ready to go. I think the Cowboys were a little bit more cautious because of how well they were playing with Cooper Rush. But I think this is a Lions game to pick here.
And I 100% agree. I got I think the Cowboys win, but I got the Lions +7.
Yeah, I'm not entirely convinced the Cowboys win.
Really?
I'm not.
You think they will, but you're not convinced, or do you think the Lions are going to show up now?
It's just such a tough game for me to pick, honestly, and not for the spread wise, but just a straight up pick. I'm struggling because you feel like this is a spot where the Lions can really make a stand. They can make a statement, say, we're not done yet. Our season's not over. I know we're 1-4, but we're coming off the bye, and we're going to show the league something here.
And we're healthy.
And they got guys back. They are healthier, and you can't make that injury excuse anymore. You had a couple weeks to get right. So now's the time. This is honestly a make or break game for me. I need this win for the Lions. I need it emotionally, mentally, physically. Anything that the Lions do this week that's positive will have me feeling good, but they need to win. They need to win because if they go to 1-5, this season is basically over. And I'm not saying playoffs are in store here at 1-4.
We just wanted a good season out of them,
right? I mean,
for us right now that's like 4 wins.
But if you win one game, right? You win this week, you're building something. Maybe you win the next week. Maybe you win the following week. When you just keep losing and losing and losing, you're not building anything. Nothing happens when you lose. You just go the opposite direction. So I'm not comfortable picking the Cowboys to win because I think this is a game where the Lions have to make a statement. They cannot get embarrassed like they did against New England again. They have to make a statement. I'm not picking them to win. I'm picking them to cover, but this is a must-win for me, for Dan Campbell and this coaching staff. And they need to put it together this week.
Agreed. I hope they do win.
I got a little angry there. I'm fired up now.
The Lions fans are always angry.
Let's go to some more not so angering teams.
We got our juicy boys heading down to Florida.
Yep,
to meet the young
week.
buck in his golden mane. We got the Giants headed down to Jacksonville to play the Jags. Jags -3.
This is a lot like the LSU line for me.
I know. I knew it was.
Look, the Giants are a better team. This line does not make any sense. The Giants are 5-1. The Jags are 2-4. That's just record-wise. The Jags are -3. Are you kidding me? I mean, the Giants just beat the Ravens. You're thinking, how are they not getting any respect here? What's Vegas saying here?
Vegas don't respect. Hey, get no respect.
I am taking the Jaguars -3 here. I'm closing my eyes with this one, just like I am with LSU. The Jags are pretty good against the run. I don't think they stop Saquon, but I think they can at least maybe limit his effectiveness. They're allowing just 3.6 yards per carry. So the Giants, on the other hand, are giving up 5.6 yards per carry. So you think it might be a big game for Robinson, ETN. We'll see. I mean, Kenny Drake just went wild. So you're thinking maybe the Giants are a little bit susceptible to the run game, more so than most teams in the NFL with those numbers, right? I mean, Kenny Drake just ran for like 110 yards on 10 carries. He was a beast, and Kenny Drake sucks. I mean, he doesn't suck, but it's Kenny Drake. I mean, it's not like it was J.K. Dobbins or Lamar Jackson ran for those numbers. It was Kenny and Drake. So I'm not saying this offense for the Giants is completely shut down from the Jags, good run defense, and I'm not saying that the Jags are just going to run wild on the Giants, but I just look at this number. The Giants are going into Jacksonville. It's a swamp. It's muggy. It's gross down there. I just think you take the Jags and kind of just are like, Vegas is telling me to take the Giants. I'm going to stray away from that temptation and go with the Jags. Because Vegas is telling you Giants +3. That's what they're saying. They're saying, you guys know what the Giants' record is. Take them. Sure, go ahead. So I'm not.
Forget you, Vegas.
I'm not falling into the trap. Give me the Jags -3.
Falling in the trap. Yeah. I mean, you know what blows my mind? The Giants, you could argue, a man they spent millions of dollars on and a first-round pick have done nothing for them. It's everybody else.
Right.
Galladay, nowhere. Tony, where? Nowhere.
His hamstring. He hurt his other hamstring
He
after he recovered from his other
hurt.
hurt hamstring. And Kenny Galladay is just not. I mean, he's not the same.
Repetition. Hurt continuously. I believe in the Giants. Heat is a factor. It seems that way, especially when I saw the Vikings having troubles with it in Miami. But I love me some Vegas. Give me that +3 Giants.
Man, oh my God.
Trust.
I don't know about that one.
Trust
You are
it.
scaring me with that.
Trust the
So
Giants.
do you think the Giants win? Do you think they go into Jacksonville and win that game?
I
Or do.
do.
Okay. So you think they go 6-1?
I'm riding the Giants 6-1.
Man.
Back to New Brunswick.
See, if the line was Giants -3, I'm totally taking the Giants. I'm just looking at this line, and Vegas is just telling you, like, they want you to take the Giants. That's my only concern. If this was Giants -3, I'm all with you because I think the Giants are easily the better team.
It is all quads all the time.
Okay.
They are not going to get hurt. They're not going to be feeling bad.
I don't think so at all. I think Saquon actually has a good game. And
Gotta trust
I love
Danny
me some
Dimes.
Saquon.
Gotta run it back.
Okay.
+3 Giants. Give it to me. Dabble hits it again.
Oh my goodness.
I'm not even a fan of him, but he hits it again.
On to the next.
On to the next. We got our boys. These are two teams, same division, both need redemption.
They do.
Both need redemption.
They do.
We got the ugly Browns at the Lamar-based Ravens. -6.5 Ravens right now, right?
Right. And the Ravens are at home.
And you got some stuff to discuss.
I did tease some Lamar stats.
Yes,
so
there was a teaser.
there was a teaser. So in the fourth quarter, we've seen the Ravens break down, right? In Miami, they broke down. Against the Bills, they broke down. And last week against the Giants, they broke down. Lamar, specifically, 1 touchdown in the fourth quarter this season, 1 touchdown to 4 interceptions with a pass rating of 56. His lowest yards per carry come in the fourth quarter as well, so teams are locking it on the ground. But here's the thing. He has the most carries in the fourth quarter out of all the other quarters. So he has the most carries in the fourth quarter so far this season, but that's his lowest yards per carry. So he's not even getting it done with his legs in the fourth quarter, and he can't get done with his arm in the fourth quarter. So Lamar is really struggling. I know Cleveland looked awful last week against the Patriots, and we predicted that. Like, we were like, this is an easy pick. Like, the Pats are going to crush the Browns. I feel like this is a game where Cleveland hangs around. I'm not totally convinced that they win this game because I think it's a bounce-back spot for Lamar and the Ravens, despite everything I just said. I do think they bounce back, but I don't trust Baltimore to close out a game right now. And I don't trust Lamar to close out a game. So I think Cleveland hangs around. Maybe they have a little bit of a backdoor cover. I think Baltimore wins, but Cleveland has lost 3 in a row. They kind of need to have kind of like the Lions, they kind of need to have a statement game, kind of show what they're made of. I don't know if they win. I'm thinking to lean with Baltimore if you're, picking straight up here. If you're more of like a money line better, I would probably side with the home team here, but I think Cleveland keeps it close. I'm taking the Browns, and I'm not totally comfortable with it, but that's my pick.
You got the Browns +6.5.
I like the road underdog here.
Let me tell you, I'm a ride or die for Nick Chubb. I love that man to death. He had a rough week last week. I don't know what happened with him. The Patriots happened.
The Patriots stuffed him. I mean, that was all Belichick right there.
He knew how to draw the game plan. He trusted the best player in the AFC defensively.
Matt Judon. That rush defense was phenomenal.
It was. It really was. I was surprised because I haven't watched a full Patriots game in a while, and now that the Lions weren't playing, I was like, now's the time
Yes.
to be happy.
Right.
But the fourth quarter, man. The fourth quarter, like you said, those stats are just insane right now.
He's terrible. He's utterly atrocious in the fourth quarter, and he's great in the other 3 quarters. He just can't get down the fourth.
And there's only so much he can do to blame Harbaugh for the mishaps. Maybe the first one, bad call, but Lamar himself is blowing these games.
Right. I mean, he had the turnover. He had the interception that led to a Giants score, and then the fumble that led to the Giants closing the game out. I mean, that was 2 brutal mistakes by Lamar Jackson late in the game, and you just can't have that if you're going to win games. Like, and especially, not even right now, but in the regular or in the postseason, You can't trust that.
No.
And so, look, I don't think the Browns are very good because Jacoby Brissett's their quarterback. I'm not totally convinced that they're going to cover this spread, but I just think it's the safer play because of the Ravens' inability to shut it down the fourth quarter.
I respect that. I am riding with you. I got Browns plus 6.5. It's tough, but I think the Ravens win. If I'm picking straight up.
I agree.
Yeah, I think we're on the same wavelength on this one.
I think the Ravens have to win this game.
Unless otherwise it's just
I trust Harbaugh to win this game, but I just think it's going to be close. And it's a divisional game. In the past, this game has kind of been close. Some years kind of been a blowout, other years. So I'm going to trust the Browns here.
The crazy thing about this division is there was so much hype going into the season. Everything fell off.
Mm-hmm.
The Super Bowl contenders, the Bengals, start off 0-2. And now somehow, after all mishap and craziness, they're at the top of the division.
This division makes no sense. I mean, the Ravens were the preseason Super Bowl darling because they had really good value, and I mean they have the talent to do it. But I've said this for a long time. I know this is only our second episode, but if we were recording years in the past, I've been on it since day one. Lamar is not that guy. He's fun. He's exciting. He's an electric quarterback, but he's just not a winning quarterback. I don't buy that he can win games late in the year or consistently enough during the course of a season. And you're seeing it in the fourth quarter. That's winning time. That's where you win or lose games is the fourth quarter. You had 2 games that were brutal, and then last week I think was the worst loss. I think that's even worse in Miami because that was solely on him.
The man's chasing a bag, and I don't know. I feel like they're still going to give it to him. I think they might still pay him. It's going to be unfortunate. I think it'll be a bad situation, but I think they might pay him.
You know, it's going to play out because let's say, theoretically, the Ravens don't win enough games to get into the playoffs, right? I don't see a scenario in which they miss the playoffs, but let's say, theoretically, Lamar's healthy all season and they don't make the playoffs. I don't know how you pay him if you're Baltimore. I mean, I think you're kind of stuck with paying him.
That's the playoffs,
but if you're not a playoff team for 2 seasons in a row, I don't think you can fire Harbaugh. I think you're letting Lamar go, or at least finding a way to get some value for him. I don't know. I don't know. I'm glad I don't have to make that decision. But if I were making that decision, I'm either trading Lamar for assets or I'm just not paying him because I can't have that fourth quarter performance continue to happen and then pay him for that fourth quarter performance to continue to happen.
Agreed. We're riding with what we believe the
Brownies,
but picks, we're riding the Brownies.
Brownies.
All right. We head to where it all is.
Yes, sir.
Vegas, baby.
Vegas.
We got the Texans at Raiders. Raiders -7.
Yep.
And boy, does Josh McDaniels need a win.
I mean, that Monday night game against the Chiefs was tough. They probably should have won that game. They played well enough to win.
I think so too.
The Texans and the Texans and the Raiders are both coming off a bye. So these are 2 teams that are rested for a week now. Here's a little bit of a funny stat, though.
All right.
So the Texans off the bye last year upset the 1-seed Titans. The Raiders lost after the bye to the Giants. So you had one team losing to a Giants team that was subpar, under 500, and then you have a subpar team beating the 1 seed. So kind of weird, right? Like,
don't know what to expect.
That kind of a weird stat. Weird. Not that you have to trust that,
it,
but
it is a weird
I was just
stat.
kind of looking at that, and I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting.
Saying that the Texans are more of a upset potential team.
I think so. And Houston is 3-1-1 against the spread this year, so they've been a positive team against the spread. The Raiders, I believe they're 2-3, so not so much the same there. Here's some interesting stuff. So the Raiders' offense has 9 turnovers on the year. The Texans just have 5. The Texans have created 8 turnovers this year, but the Raiders only have created 3. So Houston is kind of keeping ball control as a big emphasis, but they're also creating some mistakes. And keep in mind, these are just 5 games for both these teams because they're both coming off the bye. So they've only played 5 so far. So the numbers maybe look a little bit smaller than opposed to the teams that have played 6 as expected. But I just kind of am looking at this game, and I think 7's a little too much for the Raiders. The Raiders are mistake prone. I don't trust the Raiders' defense whatsoever. They've given up 11 touchdowns, and they're tied for the Falcons with defensive sacks. They're 31st in sacks. So this is a game where Davis Mills, Brandon Cooks, and Dameon Pierce, I think, can have nice games. I'm not saying that the Texans win this game by any means, and I know I gave you that weird after the bye stat, but I'm looking at this game and I'm like, I'll ride with the underdog here. I know it's on the road, and I know Vegas looked really good against the Chiefs, even in the loss, but I'm going to take the Texans here plus 7. I'm not convinced the Raiders can cover spread.
I respect that. I respect that pick. I think the Texans don't have it figured out, but they have good they have guys they can work with.
They do.
I think like the tides are starting to turn a little bit down in Houston after all Deshaun and everything. That
so
era.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, that was quite an era.
I mean, I know the organization didn't handle that
well at all.
Incredibly well, but I mean, you kind of heard that
they were kind of
might have
involved,
played a little
potentially.
bit.
Yeah.
I mean, so they weren't.
They
were not a very good, factor in all that. But you're right; they have something in Davis Mills. I don't know what that is entirely, but I think he's kind of playing all right. Like, I think he's been a good, solid draft pick, and maybe he's not the guy of the future, but he's looked all right.
He's a guy that can win you games, but he may not take you to a championship, but he can keep you afloat, keep you alive. You got Pierce, what a great draft pick.
A 4th round
extremely slept on. You could trust Cooks, the vet. Nico Collins is up and down. He's not playing amazing, but like he's there to a point.
Right.
So it's like they're not just a no man's land.
No.
OJ Howard, horrible drop, I think, by the Bills.
He hit a 2-touchdown game early in the year.
Yeah, I mean, it's up for the Texans, I think, right now.
And
it is up for them.
Derek Stingley has played really well this year too.
Oh yeah,
and
I always
he's
forget
probably
going to
draw Devontae Adams. I'm not saying Stingley shuts him down, but I don't know. I think it's going to be tough to get him the football, and you're looking at what else Derek Carr has to throw to. I mean, Renfro's banged up. Waller hurt his hammy in that Monday night game, so
he's still out, I think.
So, yeah, I actually don't know what his status is.
Renfro right now is questionable. I think Waller is out, but
Okay.
it's still to be determined.
So what it comes down to me is depending on Josh Jacobs to get it done. And I think if you're having a run-heavy script, I don't necessarily think you're playing to cover the spread. I think if you're having to depend on the run, that's clock control, that's managing the football, that honestly sets up what I think is a Texans cover. So I'm going to go with Texans plus 7 here. I don't think they win because I think the Raiders really, really need to win this game. But I'm going to put my chips in the Texan table.
In Vegas. Bold.
In Vegas, yep.
In Vegas, I'm a homebody.
You're
I
going with the
vibe.
Raiders?
I'm taking the Raiders.
The Raiders.
Minus 7. The silver and black.
Gorgeous uniforms, by the way.
The dangerous men. Devontae Adams. Yes, he had a bit of a misdemeanor.
That was so
That's
stupid.
that's another for another time.
That was so dumb.
But no, I think Carr knows what's up. He knows it's time to put on a game. Whether it's an ugly one or not, he knows it's time. It's time to win. I think Josh McDaniels just lets them kind of do their thing, and I know it's tough because with Devontae Adams being arguably the only one you can throw to. What if you cover him? What else you got? Like you said, Josh Jacobs run heavy, but I trust that the Raiders are going to get it done at home.
Okay,
I think them just being at home will make them feel a little more confident, especially after that close game against the Chiefs. Was that Monday night?
Yep.
Yeah, tough Monday night game. Tough Monday night loss, which they should have won. But, I take the Raiders minus 7 and to win.
The funny thing about the Raiders is I feel like they play up against teams like the Chiefs. Like they'll play up to their opponent, but then I also think they play down to their opponent.
And they'll play down this.
And I think I'm not totally convinced that Josh McDaniels has this under control completely. I still think they win. But I've seen Josh McDaniels in the past coaching. This is a kind of a game where it's close. Like it's just not totally a convincing game from the Raiders. But I still think they get it done. I'm just going to side. I have really nothing that points me towards the Texans covering this game outside of the fact that they've been well against the spread this year. And the Raiders defense doesn't sack the quarterback well, and they don't create many turnovers. So that gives you kind of a sense that Davis Mills will be comfortable in this game. Where I think I know they got Mad Max for the Raiders. I know he's an absolute stud, but there's really no one else that's creating pressure, and there's really no one else that is going to make a game-changing play defensively for the Raiders. So maybe they step up. I don't know. I'm going to trust Lovie Smith. Give me the Texans.
Lovie. Shout out to his Fighting Illini, who are better without him.
They are playing awesome. Brett Bielema has the Illini playing great football.
It's crazy.
It makes no sense, but whatever.
It's in the past.
Next game.
All right, we head down to Nashville. We got the Colts at Titans. Titans minus 2.5. Derrick Henry's had an up and down year.
He has.
And I don't know what's happening also with the Colts because they were looking awful right away, and they're kind of getting a little bit of life back. Not extremely, but they seem to be getting some things together.
Well, the Colts are 3-2-1, which is just wild. Let's face it, their offense in the first 5 weeks was awful. But then last week they exploded for 34 points. So you're looking at a Colts team that might have turned a corner offensively. Jonathan Taylor's back this week. Nyheim Hines is back this week, so they're getting that ground game back. I don't know how much they depend on it though, because the Titans. I keep thinking about the Texans. But the Titans' defense allows a 67% completion percentage, and they allow a league high 7.9 passing yards per game.
Wow!
So this gives you the sense that
Pittman,
that Pierce, that those Colts receivers are going to be open and they're going to be able to make plays down the field. I know the offensive line for the Colts has struggled. I mean, you've seen it. Matt Ryan has been sacked so many times, and he kind of plays into that too. He's a statue back there. So I know it's a weird kind of stat where the Colts, because going in, you're thinking Colts have a really good offensive line, right? But they're young. They haven't all played together. They've struggled this year. Look, it's Titans minus 2.5 right now. I'm going to take the Colts here. I know Derrick Henry has looked good lately, and I know that the Colts offense, for the most part, has looked very bad, but I'm just going to lean into the fact that I think they might have turned the corner. They get some guys back healthy, and I'm going against the trend. The Titans have won 4 straight against the Colts, but I think this week is different. I'm going to take the Colts.
All right. I respect that. Matt Ryan getting his game together. It looked like he was already a joke right when the season started in Indy.
It was bad.
It was insane. And people would be arguing, you got the best back in the league behind you, Pittman, who's a legit receiver.
Yeah.
What people believe to be a legit defense.
It is legit defense for the most part.
I agree. I know they've had their ups and downs,
and they've been hurt too. Shaq Leonard's been banged up, and he completely changes the defense and how they are able to scheme, really. I mean, he's an absolute game wrecker.
And it just depends. I agree. And it just depends on how they're feeling that week. But, Colts love being at home.
They do.
I think. That's how I feel.
They're a home team.
They're a home body. They feel comfortable that they don't got the outside noise or whatever.
They love Lucas Oil Stadium.
They do. I love Lucas Oil Stadium, too.
It's a beautiful stadium.
It is. I'd love to play there. Maybe I'll make the league in my next life. But I trust, though, that the Titans are just the better team at the end of the day. Like you said, I know they've won multiple years in a row.
They have.
I think
they've dominated this matchup lately.
I think this is the worst the Titans have been, though, unfortunately, in the past couple of years. But I think the Titans get it done and win. But am taking the Colts plus 2.5.
So you're thinking it's like a really tight game.
It's a tight one.
Colts are up by 2, and Randy Bullock kicks a 35-yarder for the
exactly.
win. And the
we're
Titans
talking,
win by 1.
we're talking a tight one.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. I don't know if the Colts win this game either. I'm gonna think by taking them 2.5, I'm gonna think that they're gonna win this game. I'm gonna think it, but I'm not.
Think it into existence.
I'm gonna think it into existence. I don't trust them at all, though. They're just so wacky. And they're kind of like the Broncos a little bit, but they actually have won games. So I'm gonna lean into it. I'm gonna lean into the 2.5 here. I don't know.
They're arguably the same. Take away that tie, they're arguably the same. You know,
No,
Colts are 3-2-1. Titans are 3-2.
They feel like the same exact team to me.
I agree. You know, you got a power back, you got a known quarterback, and you got it's pretty much I don't
like they on paper they look kind of similar, and they played the first game close. It was a touchdown game, I believe. I think it was 24-17 final or 21-17 final. So it was a one-score game the first time. So why can't this game be less than a field goal? Why not? I'm leaning into it. It's not my most comfortable pick of the week. It's probably my least favorite pick of the NFL slate. But this next game is my favorite pick of the week.
I agree with you, man. But hey, you know, Titans, why not? Or Colts, why not?
It's a coin flip. It's one of the, it's just like LSU, and the Jags and Giants. It's just kind of one of those games where you close your eyes and you make the pick. But it was a fun game for me because I was, when I was picking the slate for the NFL, I was like, you know what, this is a divisional game. I think both teams are exactly the same, so let's have some fun with it. So Colts plus 2.5.
Love it. Closing out, big Monday night game, at least for us. It may not be for others. But we got the dirty Chicago Bears and Justin Fields, that tough team, heading to Foxborough. Patriots minus 7.5.
Yep.
And it's crazy because it's shocking the Patriots are 3-3 and the Bears are 2-4. The fact that it's a one-game difference, I'm like...
I mean, the Bears beat the Niners in that sloppy, rainy game opening week, and then they beat the Texans. So their wins haven't been
they're nothing
that
nothing
great. I mean, I think the first week was kind of a fraud win, and then the Texans are the Texans.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a close game. It was I think they won by 3.
Yeah, I think so.
It was a close game, kind of what you'd expect out of those two teams. Look, you know who I'm going with here.
Oh, all day.
Patriots minus 7.5. Easy pick. This is my NFL lock of the week. Putting the money down. I don't care what the spread is. The Patriots' pass defense is incredible. They get to the quarterback. Justin Fields probably not going to do a ton of passing, but he's going to have to when they're down by 17 in the second quarter. That's just how bad the Bears are. The Bears allow the most sacks in the NFL. The Bears' rush defense is second in yards given up. The Patriots are probably getting Damian Harris back this week. Even if they aren't, you have Ramondre Stevenson going wild again. They've given up nearly 1,000 rushing yards through 6 games, the Bears defense.
Insane.
They cannot stop the run. And that's exactly what the Patriots are going to try to do.
Yeah, they don't need to throw it. If Stevenson's got an option, he's going.
No, and look, the Bears pass defense is not bad. It's, Eddie Jackson's back there. They got some guys. They got some names, but they've been a little opportunistic in their turnover creation. And what do the Patriots do really well? Taking care of the football, right? I mean, I know Mac Jones has struggled, and he's expected back this week. I know he's struggled taking care of the football, but I think coming off an injury, I think he's going to be more apt to playing a Belichick style of football, taking care of the football, making quick reads, playing it safe. I think they trust that ground game tremendously in this performance. And look, I think this is an easy pick. The Bears offense against this Pats defense that's riding hot right now. There's no way that the Bears cover the spread. This is my lock of the week. I love this pick. I think this is too low of a number. I think this should be Patriots like minus 8.5, minus 9.
I respect that. Yeah, I'm riding with the Patriots all day. Patriots minus 7.5. I agree it should be higher. I might even go higher than what you said, arguably.
The Bears just cannot. I mean, you saw them against the Commanders. They cannot put the ball in the end zone, and they make too many mistakes. Justin Fields turns the ball over a ton, it feels like. And even when the Bears were moving the football, they weren't finishing drives. And that is just a sign of a young quarterback, a young team. that doesn't know how to get it done. And what does Belichick do against young quarterbacks and young teams?
He eats them up.
He eats them up. So
Eat them up.
I'm not putting my faith in the Bears to keep this game close.
And that's a tough thing for the Bears too. After their years of horrible kicking history, it's tough to see them out there like that.
Right. I mean,
They want to be in the end zone. They do not want to be kicking field goals all day, especially against the Patriots. You know they're going to run it up on them if they can. I mean,
the Patriots the past 2 weeks, what have they done? They shut out the Lions 29-0, and then they just beat the Browns 38-15. So they are dominating games lately, and I think the trend continues. I don't see why it doesn't. So Pats minus 7.5, I love it. And I know a little bit of a Pat bias there, but I just think you look at this game and you're like,
how do you not?
How do you not pick the Patriots, right?
I agree.
I don't think this is one of those games where it's like a trap line either. I think this is a game where Vegas is like, okay, it's an NFL team in the Bears. We got to respect them a little bit. Patriots minus 7.5 feels right. And I think maybe the average bettor kind of looks at that line and is a little timid to take a Patriots team with a returning QB in Mac Jones off of that high ankle sprain to take them by 8 or more. But I don't know. I think this is an easy pick. Like, I think it might scare some people away, but I'm not a scared bettor. I'm taking the Pats minus 7.5 easily.
We know it won't happen, but could you see Zappy starting this week?
No. There was a report that came out that Mac Jones is going to be the starter, and he's going to resume his position. I do think if Mac Jones gets a little hobbled during the course of the game, doesn't feel right, or maybe in the pregame, he's moving around a bit, maybe tweaks it or something, then I don't think the Patriots will risk it. I think they'll put Bailey back in there, but if Mac is healthy to go, he's going to be starting, and I fully believe in Mac Jones to get this done, not just for us, but for Patriot Nation out there. This is a secured victory. I love this spot. I love this spot for the Pats.
Ride it. Book it. Patriots dub. Count it. They're gonna win this thing. I think by multiple scores. Honestly,
yeah.
It's arguably a Patriots lock, like you said.
I think so. I mean, it was an easy pick last week against the Browns. I think this week is an easy pick against the Bears.
And there you have it.
Let's run it down then.
Run it down.
Let's
roll it back.
Let's run the juice here.
Or run that juice. Squeeze.
We're gonna be squeezing a lot of juice this week. Sportsbooks are gonna be paying us big cash, I think.
Splash.
Maybe me a little bit more. I think I got some, but I think you got a couple winners in there. All right, so
read it for
NCAA,
the people.
Running it back. We both got Clemson minus 14.5. I got LSU minus 1.5. You have Ole Miss plus 1.5. Oklahoma State, we both got them plus 6.5. You teased an Oklahoma State victory.
I did.
So maybe a money line prediction right here from my man. What do you think?
I think I would take the Oklahoma State money line.
Okay. So there you have it. So do you want to double up there? Potentially, or
I'm going to double up.
like I did with the over last week?
Yeah, let's ride it.
Okay.
Ride
so you got
it.
2 picks. We got Oklahoma State money line and 6.5 here. I'm just going to take them to cover.
Give me that.
Bama minus 21. We both have that.
Whew. It's like a Patriot game.
TCU minus 3.5. We both have that one, right?
Yep.
And then Oregon minus 6.5. I have Oregon. I got the Ducks. He's got the Bruins.
Woo.
So there you have it with the NCAA. In the pros, I got the Lions plus 6.5. You got the Lions plus 6.5. We're both riding with the home squad, and we are doing it with probably the least amount of confidence we've had in this team all year long. Jaguars minus 3. I got the Jags. You got the Giants. That's a trap game, I'm telling you.
We'll see what happens.
You're going to regret that. You're going to be texting me on Sunday. I should have taken the Jags. Browns and Ravens. Ravens minus 6.5, but we say no to Baltimore. We got Browns plus 6.5.
Give me the dogs.
Texans and Raiders. Raiders minus 7.5. You got the Raiders minus 7.5. You believe in Carr and that McDaniels offense.
Team's all about felonies.
In Lovey. I'm loving Lovey this weekend. I got Texans plus 7. Colts at Titans. We're both running at the Colts at plus 2.5.
JT back.
Yep.
The
JT's
boys.
back. Matt Ryan looks good now. We'll see if that continues. And then the Bears at the Pats. We both got the Pats minus 7.5. Easy pick from yours truly.
Easy.
We are loving this slate of games. I actually think this is a really ugly NFL slate, but the performances that we're expecting out of some of these guys, especially, for me, Jared Goff, he needs to perform. Matt Ryan, he needs to perform. The Browns run game, they need to perform. Mac Jones and that Patriots offense, we need to see it this weekend. Some ugly games, but I think you're going to see some big-time performances.
I agree. Big time. Big stage, big time, big show. They're going to show out. Also, before we roll out of here, a little special shout-out to the Fantasy League. The boys are playing each other this week.
I know. And look, Christian McCaffrey, we didn't really get into that. He just got traded to San Francisco.
Huge trade.
This week is not a great week to be a Christian McCaffrey owner like myself because I don't know how much he's going to play, if at all. But I love that he's in San Fran now. I think that's an awesome spot. And the Niners, look, I should have said this last week. I think they're the best team in the NFC. I don't care.
I think you did say that.
Did I say that?
I think you said they're definitely like top two. You said they'd be the ones right now to fight against the Eagles. The only logical answer.
So you can go back. You can watch it. I said that then.
I said something like that, but he definitely was like, they're definitely the team to play against the Eagles if there's any.
I am not totally convinced that Christian McCaffrey puts them over the top because I already thought that they were that team, so I don't think that this just boosts them to like God level. But
better.
I do think they got better, and I do think that it's going to be them and the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. I love Kyle Shanahan in that offense, and now I love it even more with McCaffrey. So
it's where he was meant to be.
And Vegas isn't totally convinced that this puts them over the top either. The line moved very little with their odds to win it all, but that's awesome, right? But that's our fantasy matchup.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate because I don't know how much he's going to play, but maybe I'll still win. I don't know.
I think you're still projected to win because my flexes are up and down right now.
We see my QB is.
Oh, I saw. I was waiting for you to pick up somebody. You had to drop your boy.
I picked up a guy.
Is that low-key why you riding?
I'm riding. Look, the Raiders cannot cover the pass. Davis Mills, my fantasy quarterback. Let's go, Davis.
Herbie fully loaded. Chargers. Let's go, baby.
They're playing the Seahawks. That's going to be a blowout, probably.
I know, but Mike Williams got to step his game up. I got him, too.
He either scores 1 point or 20 points. He has 0 games. I saw a stat. He's either had games above 100 yards or less than 20 yards. Nothing in between.
I will leave it at this. Mike Williams is a croissant. Too flaky. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That is all I have to say.
What a closer.
Squeeze that juice. Squeeze the juice. I apologize.
No, I mean, we can squeeze the juice. We can squeeze that juice.
This juice, that juice, whatever you want to squeeze. Just make sure it's juice, please.
Bang.
All right, the boys are out on week 2. We will see you next time, y'all.
Let's make some money.
Peace.